HARK! We are here. It is time for yet another episode of Regroup Phase. In this week's Regroup Phase, we continue our previews for Shadows of the Galaxy. We've got some cool cards. We've got some controversial cards. We've got some cards that I'm very excited for a deck that I'm absolutely going to be building basically first thing once Shadows of the Galaxy comes out. We also have an FFG live stream of some gameplay. We'll check out a little bit of that towards the end of this video. But without any further ado, let's get right into these previews. Our first preview is a continuation of last week's Dr. Evazan Preview. On Tuesday, which is when my video was already finished, we got the reveal of the cost, the aspects, the power, the traits, and the health. And then on Wednesday, we got the reveal of the full card. This was told to us that it was one of the higher value designs by the developers in terms of how cool it is. And I understand the fluff by it, but it is a complicated card that is going to have a complicated path through constructed gameplay in this game. We have Dr. Evazan wanted on 12 systems. I still believe it should have been He Doesn't Like You Either. 2 cost, Cunning Villainy ground units, 3 power, 3 health, underworld trait, shielded, bounty, ready up to 12 resources, rare, 185 out of 262 in SHD. This card started out really cool. They got me in the first half and then just ended up really tanking my enjoyment of it. I understand the flavor of the bounty. Wanted in 12 systems, ready up to 12 resources. But effectively, any removal is free against this if it costs you resources in order to be able to do this. As long as it's, you know, the shield is already off or you're ready to be able to take it out. Anything that defeats a unit will just straight up clear this dude off the board. We've seen how a unit-based bounty works with the cartel turncoat that allows your opponent to draw a card when the bounty is cleared. This one is much worse. I am struggling to find a situation where I would want to play this over something like Cartel Smuggler or literally anything else that's 2 cost that's Cunning Villainy. I would rather play a Bib Fortuna over this, even though he doesn't have the same level of stat spread. And the reason why is that those other 2 cards really do progress your ability to do things while still remaining shielded, while Dr. Evazan can very easily be shifted into your opponent's favor by just not doing enough to counteract the fact that your opponent can get 12 resources back. Now, if you can start your action off by defeating this to defeat something on your opponent's board while they have all their resources readied, the bounty doesn't matter. Or if you do something while your opponent has taken the initiative, which means they can no longer take game actions, that's another really good way to do it. Ozzel is a very similar thing. You either start with it or you end with it when your opponent can't do anything to respond. But this is so much more devastating in terms of the way that you can be played against while using this card. I know there's going to be some people that are going to be really high on it right off the bat. I am not, and I do not see this seeing a significant amount of high level play, specifically because the bounty is so risky. I love the flavor. I think it's cool. I think it's cute. I don't like the fact that it's a rare, but I guess because it is a rare, that does mean that the design is going to be seen less in limited, where it actually would be better because there's not as many threats as you can reliably rely on in order to be able to deal with this. Ultimately, in constructed, this card is going to be binder fodder, much like cards like Galactic Ambition are. And there might be something that spoils him later on that makes him better, but as of right now, Evazan is Evazan. Our next card comes by way of the Unlimited FFG Twitter account, and it's a really good one. We have here Follower of the Way. This is a 2-cost vigilance only ground unit, 1 power, 3 health Mandalorian. While this unit is upgraded, it gets +1/+1. This is a common, number 56 out of 262 in SHD. I imagine that the Mandalorian the 2-player starter deck Mandalorian side will have 1 or 3 of these to be able to get that early game going. I like it a lot. One, art is really good. I love this big rifle here, but seeing this Mandalorian here, the Follower of the Way, getting a relevant while upgraded or upgrade matters strategy, I think that this is going to be a really neat card in order to be able to play, and combos really well with the Mandalorian Leader's effect that when you play an upgrade, you can exhaust something. So you have your Follower of the Way on the board, you give it an upgrade, you exhaust something, and then the follower can do something else with its additional power up. So even if all you have is an upgrade, which is a 0/0, it's a nothing, it's still getting +1/+1. And remember, shields and experience tokens are upgrades. They're tokens, but they're upgrades upgrade. So if you put a +1/+1 experience token on it, it's actually getting +2/+2. And a shield gets onto this, it's actually a shield with +1/+1 on it. Really fantastic. I do wish that it was for each upgrade, but I understand why they wouldn't want it to get super out of hand. Maybe there's a larger Mandalorian card later that will get +1/+1 for each, or +1/+0 for each upgrade attached to the unit. But for right now, this is a great first round play to get yourself set up for second, third, fourth round plays to be able to exhaust things with the Mando's Leader's effect, and also get these guys out to be bigger and better and badder as you continue playing Mandalorians and upgrades. Next, we have the preview that was given to us by FFG during the FFG Live on April 24th. And this is an interesting card. It was something that I talked about when we previewed the art. So we have a fulfillment of one of the art pieces that we've seen before about what it was. I was mostly right. Let's just go check it out. There's not a confirmation specifically where this card is from, but this is the Pike Sentinel, a 2-cost vigilance villainy ground units, 2 power, 3 health, underworld traits, Sentinel, common, number 29 out of 262 in SHD. So it is a Pike unit, but still not confirmed whether it's a Pike unit somewhere else or if it was one of the ones like Kessel. It doesn't matter. It's still cool art. This is a round 1 Sentinel. You drop it down, your opponent has to deal with it. This is a nice little speed bump against aggro because it means that they have to deal with this before they do anything else, unless on their next round they do play that Spec Force soldier that negates the Sentinel. But that's a lot of resources that they're going to have to use right off the bat to bypass this, rather than just kill it, which they probably are going to have to kill it regardless, so that way it doesn't continue to be a road bump. That vigilance can definitely just put more upgrades into it to be like, cool, here's a resilient, cool, here's an entrenched, cool, here's a devotion, all of these other little things that you can do with your upgrades strategies in vigilance. But even still, just as a 2-cost 2/3 Sentinel, it's still a really good card, and this is probably going to see a lot of play in vigilance decks that want to have more units on the board and less just events that kill and destroy everything on the board. Star Wars Unlimited fans ate good this week because we have yet another Unlimited FFG Twitter account preview. This is a neat card, should be interesting going forward. Let's get right into it. We have IG-11, I Cannot Be Captured, a 5-cost aggression agnostic ground unit, 6 power, 5 health, droid bounty hunter. Love seeing bounty hunter. If this unit would be captured, defeat him and deal 3 damage to each enemy ground unit instead, representative of him blowing himself up so the stormtroopers wouldn't capture him in the last episode of season 1 of Mandalorian. On attack, you may deal 3 damage to a damaged ground unit. It is an uncommon, number 170 out of 262 in SHD. IG-11, bang, 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 bang. Throw an ambush out. If you have access to it, we do have timely intervention, so it's more than just a one-shot thing. You get up to 3 of those. ECL, really good target for this card. ECL is going to define a lot of the game for a long time. As it stands, unless there's something that the IG-11 player can do to force an opponent to capture this card, unless IG-11 is threatening defeating the player, this is probably never going to see that first line of text utilized, because of the fact that it does deal damage to your opponent's entire ground arena as a result of defeating itself instead of being captured. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any shenanigans going on, or if the decision point is you're going to take 6 damage or you're going to lose your board. Interesting set of gameplay, interesting decision point, interesting pain point, depending on which way you look at it. But overall, I think that this is actually a very good card, and I'm hoping we get to see a lot of bounty hunters and maybe a little bit of bounty hunter support in this set. Especially poor old IG-88 could really use some help with the bounty hunter trait, keyword, whatever you want to call it. It'll be interesting to see how that goes moving forward. But IG-11, really cool card. Our last preview of this week comes by way of the Unlimited FFG Twitter account. I was expecting one style of preview, but instead we get a payoff from art that we've seen previously in the last few weeks, based upon the images shown to us throughout the Twitter stuff and the stream. So Xander and the social team throwing us a curveball this week, but it's a good one, and I'm excited for this card. We have here Spare the Target. This is a 3-cost Cunning Heroism tactic event. Return an enemy non-leader unit to its owner's hand. Collect that unit's bounties. This is number 206 out of 262. It is an uncommon, and it is from SHD. So the art payoff we saw earlier is this is from the first episode of The Mandalorian when IG-11 and Mando find the target, the child, whatever you want to call him, Grogu, as we end up knowing later on. And this is shortly before Mando destroys IG-11, which is a very interesting interaction between those characters. So the cool part about this card is that it's a waylay. But because it's, instead of it just being the single cunning aspect, it's cunning heroism, we get an additional bonus for it. So this is waylay, but collect bounties. And that's really cool, especially considering the fact that we know that the Mandalorian from the starter is going to want to be using bounties. Now, because this is cunning heroism, anything that's at least coded in heroism and can use cunning and wants to use bounties is going to be using this card. This is going to replace waylay in any deck that cares about bounties. But the interesting aspect is this could also just be a second copy of waylay for decks that want to just remove units off the board that are at least coded in the heroism aspect for their deck building. So I'm very excited for this card. This is going to automatically go into the Mandalorian deck that I'm like trying to build as we go along. But as we get more information about what's actually in the starter, we'll know more about how that deck is going to start and how it will evolve as we start collecting more cards and knowing more cards from set 2 and potentially what cards from set 1 will benefit very greatly into being input into those 2 starter decks. So fantastic card, fantastic art, very excited, very cool. One more quick piece of information we have here, it was a little bit of an extra preview, but it's kind of like a puzzle preview. Tyler Parrott, game designer for Star Wars Unlimited, put out a tweet on, I believe this was Thursday. Yes, Thursday. That gave us subtitles that appear on unique leaders / units in set 2. So let's check this out really quick. Shout out to Kevin from Roll On Gaming for accurate use of the Hangover gift. We have here offering no escape, muscle for hire, keeping the past, loyal to the end, worth the risk, I trust no one, boom, this is a rescue, dealer in truths, ambitious upstart, and that's good business. So we can kind of guesstimate and figure out some of these. There are a couple that I'm pretty sure are 100% correct. And a few of them that I would back like with money that these are going to be the characters that represent these subtitles. And a couple other ones that I see other people talking about that I like, but I'm not sure if 100% if that's the case. So I'm only going to call out 2 here specifically that I am 100% sure on. Boom is Wrecker. No questions asked. And the reason why is in the Clone Force 99 episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars, that's a thing that Wrecker was all about because Anakin brought him the little self-destruct device from the ship after he killed Trench. Sorry, let me rephrase that. After he murdered Trench and handed him the device and he said, yay, boom, and the whole thing goes up. So boom has been Wrecker's big thing for the life of his episodes in Clone Wars and the Bad Batch series, which is fun. Muscle for hire is another one that I'm almost certain is going to be Black Chrysanthemum. And the reason why is that when Boba was building his forces to take on the Pikes, Fennec Shand specifically called out Black Chrysanthemum as muscle for hire. So I imagine they're probably directly taking from that aspect of Book of Boba Fett. We've already seen Daimyo Fett on his little throne, so we know it's being represented in this set, and I would not be surprised if this is the subtitle for Black Chrysanthemum. Now, a couple of these other ones I've seen people say offering no escape could be Cad Bane. I trust no one could be Tobias Beckett from Solo. This is a rescue could be Finn. Ambitious upstart could be Afra, but it also could be Kira. A couple of other different things. That's good business. People are absolutely sure it's going to be Hondo, and if that's the case, I'm down with it. Love Hondo, absolutely fantastic character. He's definitely going to be one of those I am not a morality aspect characters, and I think that's fantastic. But there's a lot of different things in here. As I said, Boom and Muscle for Hire are the only ones that I'm absolutely sure on what they're going to be. We can scroll through here. Nerd Parker, our SWDB and the Force Unlimited host, throws out Wrecker here. This person puts these in the list. Twin Sons here. Black Chrysanthemum, somebody else there, obviously moved based on profit, so that's Ahsoka, or excuse me, Hondo talking about, because that's Ahsoka right there. Keeping the past is Emphas Nest. This person here, Anfield Growled, says there's a lot of definitely interesting things here associated with guesses. There's also a bunch in a couple different Discords. I don't have the ability to go over every single one, but this is the list of unique leaders / units, because they're not all leaders, so we'll have to see which ones are which going forward with this list. But thank you very much, Tyler, for this fun little puzzle / preview teaser thing given to us on the lovely Twitter website. Nobody actually believes that it's lovely. It's just something that keeps popping out when I say things. Anyway, Next segment. On April 24th, FFG presented a deck tech live stream on their YouTube channel featuring everybody's favorite community engagement specialist, Xander Tabler, Danny Schaefer, and John Leo, game designers. They played games on stream. They were cool games. You should go watch them. You should go watch them so much. In fact, I'm not actually going to do a whole lot of coverage about the specific stream itself, but what I will do is tell you the decks that each person played. So Xander, ever the Spectre specialist, managed to pull together a fairly interesting Hera Command Cunning deck, which features a lot of the tricks that Cunning wants to be able to play inside a Spectre package, which was pretty interesting. John Leo on Grand Admiral Thrawn Cunning Vigilance, so a control style deck, making sure that you can eliminate your opponent's units and then finish out the game with cards like Dooku and Avenger, running the typical control package of Power of the Dark Side, Takedown, Vigilance, Super Laser Blast, Entrenched, things like that. And then in game 2, so game 1 is Xander versus John. In game 2, we actually had Danny versus John, and Danny was running his version of Cassian Aggression Cunning, utilizing the Rebel package, but also the removal package and interaction package from Cunning, which is pretty cool. So those deck lists are on the stream. The stream is linked in the description down below. You should check out those games. That first game was a nail biter, very, very close, very fun to watch, which is why I recommend you go check it out yourself. And that is it for this week of Regroup Phase. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. We had a lot of cool previews. We had a change in our preview schedule. I was expecting art to come out for an eventual preview of a character on Wednesday. Xander and the team decided to swap that into just a full preview of a card, which was really cool. We talked about that in the last bit of the preview. The stream is excellent. Go check it out. You can check out Danny Schaefer's, I believe, fully hyperspace deck, which is really cool to be able to say. Even I don't have a full hyperspace deck, but that's because 6 of the cards that I needed for hyperspace are like $30 each. So without any further ado, make sure you like and comment on this video, showcase and share it with your friends. Check out the playlist that I have for Star Wars Unlimited, Action Phase, Regroup Phase, and all the other Star Wars shenanigans we're going to get up to. Remember to subscribe to this channel for all your Star Wars Unlimited needs. If you'd like to support, we do have memberships and super chats. Very, very, very close to being able to get ad revenue back, which I haven't had since 2018. So thank you, everybody who has been participating and watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And if you can't support monetarily, just keep watching the videos. It really does help. You don't need to spend money to support me. Just being here, watching these videos, commenting on them, doing all the lovely engagement things is more than enough. And with that, again, I've got back to talking too much, so we are done. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the stars.